Hey everyone, hopefully having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar yields, precious metals, commodities, ETFs that I follow. If you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We do have a discount going on, discount if you'd like to sign up. That's in the description link below if you want to see those discounts. That's where we talk about individual companies, individual sectors. You can ask me questions about particular companies and whatnot. We have a question and answer session coming up at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time Saturday. Let's dive in and see what's going on with the markets today, and I'll give you my opinion. So the DXY, we're up against that resistance channel that we kind of broke through here recently, came on down. Is this a retest where we start to work our way lower? I'm not as brave to say that yet, but if yields continue to decline, I do think that this could definitely go lower, the DXY. And again, the DXY is just a relative strength of the dollar against other currencies. But right now we were down 0.5% today. We did throw a pretty big wick at the bottom, which means we bounced towards the end of the day. We can show that here. We fell throughout the day, but we did bounce towards the end of the day. It makes me think that we could see further downside in the DXY potentially. Looking at yields, yields were pretty much flat today across the board. We still have downside momentum on the 2-year. That's these big red candlesticks, and that's what I mean by momentum. A lot of the times you get these impulse surges lower, impulse surge lower, and then like a flag pattern, impulse surge lower, flag pattern, impulse surge lower, and then maybe some sort of, candlestick that's about to fall to the downside again, potentially. So the momentum's to the downside for the 2-year yield for sure. We could easily go quite a bit lower if we want to on the 2-year yield. We can go a lot lower. If there's a recession, if there's a slowdown in the market, I would expect this to fall. That's going to be a tailwind behind precious metals. The 10-year yield flat today, but the momentum is definitely to the downside for yield. So momentum's downward, but we were flat today. It was up 0.19% on the 10-year. And I do think that we could fall easily down to this 3.5%-ish level. The 30-year, we were flat today. It was up 0.5%, but the momentum is still to the downside. So yields, I would say momentum definitely downward for all of the different time frame or duration lengths. TYX TNX ratio up a little bit, which is good for precious metals. It's flat, 0.33% higher, but if we can get this to turn in these general locations, these all would have been fantastic buying opportunities for precious metals in all of those circles. And then if the yield curve uninverts, which means the slowdown in the market, generally precious metals outperform during those market conditions. Bond prices, slightly lower today. And again, we're right at support resistance, that white line going across, which means we could rest here for a little bit. Gold down $2 an ounce, not much. But overall, I like how this is setting up. We had this reversal candlestick. I don't know if that was done on purpose, if they're trying to hold the price of gold down. I don't know. But there's not much selling pressure after it. So it looks like it's gathering itself up quite well. We're above support of all these different support levels. And I think eventually we're going to work our way higher. So maybe we come back a little bit like this and then rip it, which we've been doing. We've been kind of coming back like this into what I consider to be the dead period, the buyers equal to sellers. Silver's doing the same thing. We're slowly coming on back down. I think it's regathering itself, and hopefully we can get a nice surge higher if we get a weaker dollar and lower yields. That's what's driving it. Weaker dollar, DXY, and the yields dropping, and then the yield curve uninverting. So the short end of the curve comes down faster than the long end of the curve. Platinum up quite a bit today, up $18, about 2%, putting in a bullish engulfing. That looks good to go higher. We are sitting on top of a trend line that we've broken out, done a retest, and we'll see if we can get some traction here to the upside. Palladium also up $25 an ounce, 2.7% roughly. And I think this is trying to put in a bottom. You can see that we're kind of bouncing here. We're trampoline jumping. And then I think eventually it will work its way on up. So hopefully palladium and platinum can get a bottom here and start to move on higher. XAU to gold ratio, we are down slightly, about 0.5%. It's still consolidating above this trend line breakout. It still looks good. It's not falling rapidly. It still looks good to try to work its way on higher. And again, if the right market conditions, weaker dollar, weaker yields, if they come and the yield curve uninverts, I think gold's going to take off, and I think the gold and silver mining companies will do very well. CRB index, we're up a little bit. We've got a lot of downside momentum. Looks like we're trying to do like a retest here before heading higher. So give it some time. We could go down a little bit further to the downside before heading on higher. And then the CRB to S&P 500 down a little bit, 0.37%. And it looks like we're basically putting a gigantic flag pattern that we're putting in. I think we're getting close to a potential bottom. You can see the previous fractal, the blue fractal that I overlaid on this. And it is very similar to that. So I think we're getting close here, guys. We're getting close. GDX, slightly lower, but it's not a big selling pressure day. I still think this definitely wants to go higher to the upside because you get the big drive and then you get the small selling pressure. Those are basically flag patterns, pennant formations, small consolidations. GDXJ's got the same thing and it's right on support. There it is. And then SILJ also has the same exact setup, these small little down candlesticks, but the original surge of all these large green candlesticks, the Green Army showed up, and now we just got small down candlesticks. So that generally works its way higher, what I've seen in time. Crude oil, we were up 0.4%, and we've got a lot of selling pressure here, lots of momentum to the downside. Give it a little bit of time. We could even get into the mid-60s, 65, 66, could be a possibility. So lots of selling pressure here since September. And I know this is the weaker portion of the year. So be patient, guys. Be patient if you're long energy. You're just going to have to wait it out. At least that's what I'm doing. TTF nat gas up 2.65%. We're underneath that resistance support level, or resistance support. Again, momentum to the downside, little green candlesticks. We could very well have further downside. Natural gas flat today, momentum's to the downside. And there's nothing turning that momentum yet. So we could see further downside in nat gas in the short term. We've got XOP, yeah, you know me, flat today. We still have some selling pressure here coming on out, and we could see further downside in the short term, depending on what crude oil does. But this is not a reversal candlestick here, so again, momentum's to the downside. OIH, also momentum to the downside still. We are coming up on support, which is about 285. And that's what it looks like. We've been kind of in this channel here, working its way on up. And 285 is the bottom of the channel, roughly speaking. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, we're up 0.5% roughly. Still looks good. There's nothing here that looks bad. We've got impulse surge, falling wedge, impulse surge, kind of like a little pattern there. And then a breakout, a retest, and hopefully we can work our way on up. So it still looks really bullish for Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. URA still looks really bullish. We came back and tagged this support level. We tagged it, came on up, tagged it, and let's see if we get another bounce, maybe tomorrow even. URANIum also bouncing off support, still looks good. And we'll see if we can get some follow through to the upside. I like that we've got the big buying pressure and then the small selling pressure, the tap with the wick at the bottom, that still looks good to go higher. URNJ is the same setup as URNM. TAN up a little bit. I like the way that this looks. I think we could go higher. In TAN, we're just underneath resistance, and we're just squeezing up on that resistance right now. We've broken the downtrend. Looks like it wants to go on up. COPX up 1.22%, and I think copper is looking better. We can look at copper itself, but I think this looks like a great entry point for COPX. I think it's working its way sideways, but copper's looking better, and I'll show you what copper looks like in a little bit. Lithium's looking good. I think that could easily go higher, up 1.9%. Here's your bullish engulfing there. Sometimes it dips down and wants to tag that line. It looks good to go on up. REMX also looks good. There's your bullish engulfing, tagged lower. I think it's going to work its way on up. I think this is a bottoming pattern. We've broken the downtrend line, and it's trying to bottom itself out. S&P 500 up 0.8%. This is nasty. Difficult read here. This is a bearish engulfing there that generally works its way lower. We were up today, but we haven't broken through any of these resistance levels here. There's a trend line going up. We've broken down out of that. We've come back up. It could easily go lower. We'll see. And then NASDAQ up 1.37. It's a bearish piercing here, not really a convincing candlestick. This could easily go lower. We'll wait and see. Let's get some more data here. But there's a bearish piercing here and here. That generally works its way lower. KRE looks fantastic. Looks good to go higher. Just cruising on up, about 2% up today. Looks good to continue on higher. Looks fantastic. Emerging markets, we had a weaker dollar today, so yeah, it was up 0.5%. So it looks good. It looks good. Bullish engulfing there. So I think we're going to go higher with emerging markets. Home builders continuing to go higher. That looks fantastic. I see no big selling pressure. That's just momentum upward. I know people think that there's this big housing bust coming, but I don't think that's possible with the home builders going up. People see that there's a shortage of homes in the market and that there's strength in the home builders. So that's where they're expressing their bullishness is in the home builders. We've got MU squeezing up here. It looks like it's ready to break. We've got a nice bullish engulfing there. So I think we're going to go higher on MU. The fertilizers look really strong. I think they look good. Here's copper. Now, copper put in a big bullish engulfing today. So I like the way this is looking. We've got a trend line. We've broken through the trend line. We've come back and done a retest here recently. That's what this day is here. We came back and did a kind of a retest, and now we've got a bullish engulfing. We're going to go higher. It looks good to go higher for copper. And I think the diversified mining companies look pretty good. Iron ore continuing its way on up like we thought. And we've broken the falling wedge here. That's that big 1, 2, 3 consolidation. Broken out, and we are working our way higher. So again, I think we're going higher for iron ore. Aluminum still getting a little bit of selling pressure here. Looks like it's sticky, icky going down. Momentum to the downside. I'm going to say it's going to keep going lower until we find a reversal in aluminum. Baltic Dry Index reversing down almost 10%. We could get a pullback. We had a monster run here. So it is going to probably consolidate for a little bit. That's my guess. This is the daily candlestick, and I'm going to put it on the line chart so you guys can see it. You can see it coming back down. So maybe we consolidate lower or something like that. Create some sort of pattern, like a falling wedge, some consolidation pattern perhaps. We'll see how strong the selling pressure is and what exactly it does. Newcastle coal up 5%. So this is bottoming, and I do think this is a great opportunity to be looking at potential investments in coal. This is your base. Here, your breakout, and then this is your retest, and I buy the retests. So that looks good. We've got Bitcoin down a little bit today, but still looks good to go higher. Still looks good. Those are just two small candlesticks right next to the green army. This is your green army showing up. It is a consolidation. Think of this as wave one, wave two, or some sort of movement like that. So it looks fantastic. Going to keep going higher. And Ethereum, ripping it. Bullish engulfing today. It's going to go higher. I've been bullish on these ever since we've basically put in the bullish engulfing here, and the green army showed up, and we're breaking through all these resistance lines like a hot knife through butter, baby. So that looks really good for those. That's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you'd like. Don't forget 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Saturday. If you're a member, go ahead, shoot me some questions if you like, or ask me the questions when you're in the meeting. But overall, guys, I'd say the precious metals look good. Gold, silver, platinum, they look very good. They're sitting on top of everything. That's what you want to see. When you're on top of things, path of least resistance is higher. Oil still has some work to do. Natural gas has some work to do. It looks like we're coming into the weaker portion of the season. And, well, we're seeing weaker prices. And there is a little bit of production bumps in nat gas and oil in America. So that isn't helping either. Copper's looking fantastic. I think there's some good opportunities there. Iron ore continues to rip to the upside. Aluminum looking a little bit weaker in the short term that we're seeing. So overall, I think a lot of it looks pretty good. I mean, Newcastle coal futures looking fantastic. I think those are some good opportunities there, and Bitcoin, Ethereum are going higher. So that's what I've got, guys. We'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.